I want to continue with Ra's story about himself. He said he was a great disappointment to his father, being lazy and shiftless. Now I know that he's been a manifester. He was only interested, as he said, in sex and music. And father kept on saying to him that only when you work and you work hard, it's something, are you really going to see how good that feels, the reward of it, etc. He definitely was a generator of some sort. And this sort of cliche from the past generation is the third line cliche. There is this wonderful capacity in them when they try hard so many times and finally it works. So it's something to understand about the nature of the material way. The material way is not easy, and that you have to deal with the fact that you may fail, that you have to deal with the fact that things will not go the way you want. But if you are ready to adapt, then what happens to you out of that? What you learn, this can bring you enormous benefit. So you see how deep it runs within us. It's really generational. And ability to adapt here means the ability to attune, to be in attunement all the time. And when you are attuned, the moment there is a shift, you can go with it. I always do this, by the way, always. Even if there is almost no third line, like I'm still on the cross of asleep in Phoenix, right? And that makes me very mutative and very transformative. And when the attunement happens, suddenly the saxophone player takes off, without telling anybody, and there is this bass player and the drummer catching up and the piano player finally gets into line and away they go and they got a whole new track. And the audience goes like, wow, that was great. How did you do that? Can you do it again? Because this is all about being attuned. So if you cannot adapt, if you cannot handle the pressure of failure, if you cannot be attuned, you're going to have trouble. Because this is the heart of what the material way is all about. Like, let's take entrepreneurship. I have enormous respect for it, just like Ra did. And I am more of a solopreneur, but still. And I think it is a very courageous way of working in the world. Always not feeling safe, but going for it anyway. And when you look at what it is to take on that whole burden, you see that people are totally absorbed. If you work for yourself, you work 60% more than you would ever work for any boss. And you do it with joy. This is the attunement. Sometimes you're so deeply focused that you forget to see that the world is changing around you and you need to adapt. So it is all about staying attuned and being absorbed. You can never separate the mundane from the mystical. Everything that you need is there, and it is coming to your openness, the open centers. Like Ra said, I have never had to look for pleasure in my life, he said, because I have an open emotional center. So I met pleasure all my life. And the same with me. And I have never had to look for inspiration in my life with my open crown. It always found me. So in this sense, I have to teach emotional people where to find pleasure. It reminds me of a situation when I was first doing yoga and my body felt pretty constrained. I couldn't do certain poses. And there was my friend who tried it once and she was so flexible. She could do it, with such an ease. But guess what? In yoga, the ease doesn't mean you're doing well. It is about overcoming, not about having it easy. So when your emotions are defined already, you are in this pleasure state all your life. And it doesn't feel like that to you. It's innate. So you have to find something else to stimulate you. You know what I mean? So when you are looking at the third line, you see what makes the material plane so difficult. The third line is a turmoil. Most human beings do not suffer over the material plane while they are awake. Most people suffer over the material plane when they are asleep. You know what I mean by this? When they are asleep, this is when they wake up in the middle of the night or early in the morning, and there is this shock, this worry, this constant worry about, oh my God, what I'm gonna do or eat tomorrow. And the not self really thinks it is in charge. So the moment that the not self is involved in that way, the turmoil that's at work is extraordinary. This is one of the things about sleep patterns. You really have to recognize that sacral beings and non-sacral beings have to go to sleep differently and in their own spaces. Generators can only go to sleep when they are exhausted. We all know that. Non-sacral beings must go into bed, must be horizontal before they go to sleep, so that they have time before falling asleep. And these are very different sleeping mechanisms. According to being sacral or non-sacral, you're going to have even more turmoil that is going to take place while you are asleep. And you're going to wake up with that as part of that whole third line theme. So it's something to keep in mind. We're not just talking about the third line and the fact in which it is going to impact us in our waking life, but to see that it is there at the unconscious and at the sleeping level. And at the sleeping level, to recognize that it is not a nice frequency. It is turmoil. What to do? So I'll continue in the next video.